Hey, Paul, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you fine.
Awesome. I was having some Zoom trouble earlier in the week, so that's good.
Can you, whoops.
I can hear you, Hal.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's funny how with the speaker muted, you can't hear anything.
It does work that way.
Yeah. Hey, could you do us a favor and
Anything.
at the end of the meeting, would you please take control of the meeting and then with the 5 select board members, take a screenshot so we can use that as our picture for
Oh, sure.
the annual report.
On the
And the
night I'm
key
wearing
thing,
a baseball hat and a sweatshirt.
hey, yeah. I was working out in the shop, so I'm not exactly dressed either, but I think it's better than trying to get together face to face. And it's more convenient, let's put
You're
it that way.
killing me. All right.
I'm going to, well, you still have a few minutes if you want to go preen a little bit.
Well, I'd actually rather talk to you about something else while we're killing some time here.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to try to shovel down some food too.
Please do.
Go ahead.
Hey, did you happen to see anything about the transportation alternatives program that was coming out? It's I think it's federal funds being delivered through the DOT. Did you see anything about it?
No.
So it's so not road infrastructure, but alternative ways to get around town. So sidewalk improvements, rail trails, but they're also, I think, including trail connectivity. So I had a quick chat with Winnie Young today to get her opinion on it. If we could come up with a way, if we could connect the Guptal trails where they come into the back corner of the new rec fields, and if we went out from the other corner and we could get all of the, whether it's easements or land purchases, in order to do a trail from there to the elementary school, we'd have connectivity from, so basically we would have to have a trail just from that back corner of the rec field to Bow Street. At that point, we'd have connectivity from like Blake's Hill all the way to the elementary school without having to go on Route 4, which I think is incredibly exciting. So the tough part of this is that the letter of intent is due obviously next week, which is how the government works. So February 5th, which I guess we get a little bit, we get a couple of weeks, but February 5th for the letter of intent. But my thought is, even without having to meet with conservation or anybody, we could put a letter of intent in, and then if they invite us to apply and nobody's on board, we just don't apply. What do you think of that idea on the large scale?
I think it's a great idea, and what I can do, well, you can do it too if you want, but what I'll do when I get off the meeting here is I will take a look on the assessing data, because you can see all the land plots.
That was going to be my next step, is just to pull up the tax maps and see
Get
how
some
many
idea.
landowners we're talking, and
Yeah.
how that land is being managed.
Yeah.
The trickiest part might be coming around the back of that long-term care facility on Bow Street.
Yeah.
But we could figure that out.
But some of that's wet, which means that maybe they'd be willing to even, grant a right of way or something like that. Doesn't necessarily mean we have to buy the land.
Right. Yeah. I think we can do easements, and we can actually even write. So if it were a use agreement with, we can, I think, write in incentive.
Yeah. Yeah, we could figure something out.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like a great thing. If you have some details on that, please send them to me.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send it to you, and I told Winnie I'd copy her, and then I'll copy Walter on it as well and get him in the loop.
Yeah, this would be great. I mean, like you say, what's the worst that happens? We put a little effort in and it goes no further.
It'll take me a couple of hours to write up the letter to the intent to apply. Worst case is they say we're not interested.
Right.
The next worst case is they say come on and apply, and we say no, we changed our mind. No harm done. So.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to adjust the lighting here. I'll be right back. There we go. Okay. Good evening, Walter.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. Very good. Actually, I think I'm going to just print this off just so I have it. The select board meeting.
All right. If I got 4 minutes, I'm going to go change my shirt.
There's a song called "You're So Vain," I think. So Walter, I told him that we were taking the picture for the annual report.
Oh.
And so
I'm not sure. I heard Tim wasn't going to be able to join us tonight, though.
oh no. I didn't check my emails. Did he send out an email to that effect, or?
Actually, no, I had gotten that message from Beth. Some family emergency or something.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
Something with his family emergency or something.
One of his parents is not well. I hope it's not anything even worse than what's in the past. Well, we shouldn't talk about that. He's not coming. Okay, well, we'll take a picture with the four of us, and maybe somebody will have to Photoshop him in. Because didn't Susan or somebody or Paul take screenshots of each of us at some point?
Yes, Paul did.
Yeah, okay, so it'll just be a sign of the times, we got four of us, and then because of an emergency, we had to, stick him on there. But I think that'll work, yeah. And if not, well, actually, when's Linda planning on sending this to the printer?
Well, it certainly won't be until after the deliberative session, because we won't release all the final documents. So.
Maybe we still have time. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hi, Walter.
Hey, hello, Pam. How are you tonight?
Good. Thanks for getting back to me. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait, I found the 5th. What do we do for? So I was looking through my emails and I was actually going through my packets.
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't see Beth. Beth is coming, I assume, right?
Yes,
Ah,
my understanding is yes.
Yeah, still a couple minutes.
60 seconds.
Yeah. Depends how your clock is set, I guess.
It's on the computer, so computers don't lie.
Well, is the clock set by the internet, though?
No, it's
Oh, Matt,
something out there.
I got some bad news.
We're not doing it.
Tim isn't coming. So I said,
Right.
well, you know what?
With the black tie.
I think
away.
what we could do, if Beth comes, we'll ask Paul to stay on with the logo. And if Walter can stay on, but take his picture, just turn off the video, then there'll be a spot for us to Photoshop Tim in.
Perfect.
But you don't have to do it now, Walter.
I'm practicing.
Oh, okay.
There's no harm in me wearing a clean shirt anyway.
I combed my hair too.
Okay, so I think I see Beth.
Yep.
She is.
There she
Great.
is.
Great. So, Beth, I'll tell you just in advance, we discussed before you got onto the Zoom meeting, we're discussing taking our pictures via screenshot tonight. So if you'd like to primp or preen or, change your shirt as Matt has just done, there you go.
The last check.
This is well, it's oh geez, man. Okay. I think we'll start the meeting because you, like we said, Tim's not coming. I guess, Paul, what's the number you want us to call if there's a problem?
You can have that for my cell, Hal. It'll be 603
Yes.
767 5540.
Okay, great. Great, thank you. Okay, so as the chair of the Northwood Select Board and due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of COVID-19 and in accordance with Emergency Order 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, we are authorized to meet electronically. There is no physical location, so we're meeting contemporaneously via Zoom. The public also can access this meeting via the live YouTube link. That link is on the website, as is information. If you want to call us, if there's problems with that, please call 603-767-5540. And that's Paul's number, so he will answer and help resolve any issues. If for some reason we as a board lose our ability to meet electronically, the meeting will automatically be adjourned. You might not even hear a vote in that aspect. All votes will be taken by roll call. So I'm going to start the meeting with a roll call. Matt?
Present.
Pam?
Present.
Beth?
Here.
And Hal. Tim has let us know that he's unable to attend tonight. I'd like everybody to rise and pledge allegiance to the closest flag, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, one indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight is a work session. We have a couple items that we need to deal with, so there is no citizens forum. We're going to move right on to ongoing business. And I'm going to ask Walter to walk us down through the items that we need to address. I'm assuming that includes the warrant articles that we need to tally our vote on. Is that correct, Walter?
Yes, that's correct. We have 4 articles that either need revotes or need first-time votes in order to complete the recommendations from the board on the warrant. The first one is Article number 3, which is to consider the amended amount from the Budget Committee versus what was previously approved by the Select Board.
Yes, I'm scrolling down to try to find that in the meeting pack, Walter, just so I have it in front of me. Sorry.
Page 30 in the PDF.
Yeah.
After the expenditure
Yeah.
report.
Okay, so here's the way I'd like to frame this. We sent a budget recommendation to the Budget Committee. The Budget Committee held their deliberations. They made some edits, and I guess technically speaking, we should vote against their budget because it's not what we proposed. But realistically, I think from a personal basis, they made some pretty good adjustments. And if the rest of the board feels that way, perhaps we should vote to show unity with them. And maybe that'll help influence the voters to vote for this budget, to show that we're all behind it. I'd just like to go to each member and see how they feel before we vote on this. So Matt, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I like the idea of revoting it. I have no problem with the budget that the Budget Committee is sending forward.
Beth, how about you?
I agree. It's fine with me.
Okay, and Pam?
In my place, most of the things had to do with like insurance or other things that had to be corrected, or the Board of Selectmen members, like right in the very beginning. So they were, in fact, not necessarily errors, but they were corrections that needed to be made in the spreadsheet. So we have no problem with that. Other things were minor, like adding dollars to various lines that had been zeroed out. And I think the numbers were very impressive, how the Budget Committee watches over and was able to put the minuscule details in. The only real big adjustment was the emergency management line. And there was some mention or discussion whether or not that should be like a step and grade type position, or is it exempt, is it not exempt? And so I was not sure if this is the time or place for that discussion, or if you simply approve the flat line of the amount that was stated. Because if you approve that amount, does that amount become the annual amount forevermore? If, say, we change directors or change personnel in that area. So that would be my main question, would be the one line. And it's not against it. It's more like, do we need to clean that up?
That's a good point, Pam, and I appreciate you bringing that up, as well as summarizing, the other details. And I remember that when this came up, I know I spoke and I said, please budget the amount that you think is appropriate for a year like we're having this year, but please leave it up to the select board in terms of how we spend or how we handle that, because we did not have, as you indicated at the time, and I still don't think we have really an idea as to the best way to handle it. It might be best to handle it on an hourly basis. But it also might depend on the pool of applicants that we get or what other things we might face. So we had asked that we leave it open in terms of how it is handled, and let the select board handle it. So we are in essence, based on what I see, is we're budgeting that amount of money. It does not necessarily mean we have to spend that amount of money. It's no different than sand and salt. We budget a certain amount, but that doesn't mean we must spend that amount. So I guess at this point, that's the additional input I have. Walter, do you want to weigh in on that, please?
No, I think you said it very well. Just like the board has, discretion over every line item in the budget. Certainly as things change going forward in years to come, or even for 2021, you have the ability to compensate, the emergency management director, just like you would, other folks in the organization that receive either a stipend or some type of a wage.
And if I could just add to that, we don't know what we're going to face with COVID. I mean, everything looks like it's going to get better at some point, maybe even the first half of this year. But we really don't know. And to say, I mean, just as an example, to that point about stipend, Pam, to say, well, we're going to pay Bob Young X dollars. And then we find out that, oh my gosh, we need him to work every day to help with the vaccinations, because otherwise it's not going to get coordinated. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case, but what if we need more? So, to say it's going to be a stipend, maybe isn't the best thing. But, flip side, a really good year, maybe you have to pay a stipend just to get somebody's attention to take on the role. So I think for now, if we just view it as we budgeted this amount of money, and the select board will determine the best way to handle it. Beth?
I do like the idea of a stipend. Perhaps we should look at other towns and see what they're doing as well.
Yes. And that's why I didn't want to really say something firm either tonight or at the budget committee meeting. I think we need to think about this. And, Walter has good contacts all over, so we can get a pretty quick read on this. And, we'll see what other folks say. But and that's really why I'm leaning towards, let's just say we're putting a certain amount of money in the budget, and then we'll figure out how to handle it just the way we do salt and sand and everything else. Pam?
Yep. So I just want to qualify that when it came up at budget meeting, I voted affirmative for it. Thus going against the board was not my intention to break the budget, but I do believe that this Bob Young is just doing an astronomical job, and I was surprised that it was not a compensated position. But then again, we have not been in this era, or 2020, 2021 right. Before. So but I just wanted to know the formality of the funding.
Matt.
Well, and I just wanted to chime in with the idea that if Bob were to step down tomorrow, we're not going to get someone else to do it for free. So no. Regardless of Bob's willingness to take a salary or a stipend or not, is almost besides the point, right? If Bob were to leave us, we're going to need a budget to fill that position. So I think having money in that line is actually pretty important, even if it, if Bob adamantly refuses to take it. Great. Well, right.
He was thinking hard and he said, well, yeah. Maybe I will. So.
Yeah. And he's worked for it, right? There's no question about it. But I think the important thing to remember is that we're funding the line, not the person. So
yes. I think that's a real good point. And that further emphasizes that we'll figure out how best to do it with Walter's help. Okay. So that's going to be the basis that we're voting on this new budget. And I guess, Pam, I think you did the right, I'll just say it, I think you did the right thing voting for some of these things, even though we didn't include them. And I'll say, in past years, I felt bad sometimes voting against them, and I think you took a better approach. So thank you for leading the way on that. Appreciate it.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to vote on whether or not we recommend the budget as adopted by the Budget Committee. We're going to do a roll call. Well, first off, Walter, do I need a motion to do that?
Yes, we need a
Okay.
motion and stated the amount.
I move to recommend the budget of $3,962,060.
To recommend
I will
that?
second.
Okay, and any further discussion on this? Hearing none. Matt, how do you vote?
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
and Hal is yes. Okay, thank you. I think that really clarified everything on that one. So I thought it was a good use of the time to have that discussion. Thank you. Okay, Walter, what's the next one?
So Article number 5, now that we've secured the financing for the purchase of the ambulance, we have a specific payment now for the term of the lease, and it's less than what was in the original Article 5 because that was based on an estimate. So it's now $26,225. Previously, it was approved at $29,000. Can't remember exactly what the total number was, but it's less now, and that needs a revote from the board.
Okay, so can I have a motion? Do we want to do all three of these, Walter?
Yeah, it's up to you. Sure, we can do a consent.
Potentially, you could have a split vote that would on one item. So
Okay, so you know
We've
what?
got time. Let's take them one at a time.
Okay. So hold on a second, Walter. You had said page 5. On page 2, we didn't do the trust fund ones.
I said Article 5.
Article
Oh.
5.
Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, the reason I skipped over that one was our town administrator didn't highlight that number in red, so I just skipped over it.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read the whole article and then
Yeah,
motion it?
please.
Yes.
Or
So
just at least the amount.
Article 5 now reads, ambulance lease purchase to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $26,225 as the first payment on a 7-year lease purchase agreement for an ambulance, with said funds to come from the Fire Rescue Vehicle Replacement Special Revenue Fund established for this purpose. If this article is defeated, the vehicle must be returned and the town loses the $100,000 down payment it has spent on it. The purchase is in accordance with the town's capital improvement plan. I move to recommend Article 5 as read.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion?
May I have the original sum, Walter, that that we have to change from? It was higher.
It was considerably higher.
Give me just a minute to go back. I just have the updated version.
Yeah, I'll need that. I'll need that for budget tonight.
Let's see. Here we are. Yeah. Easier said than done. I'll get that for you, Pam, before we, oh, here we go. So originally it was $29,359.
And the reason it dropped is,
Interest.
That was based on an estimate.
okay.
When the original article was drafted, and now we've secured the financing and locked in the payments.
Yeah,
Thank you.
on that night, Pam, we were just Googling interest rate calculator or payment calculator and plugging in some fairly high interest rates. And also there's some other considerations in terms of whether you pay at the start of the period or end of the period and stuff. So all of those added up to a higher payment estimate than what we actually ended up with, because financing rates are good right now.
I just need to be prepared to answer questions.
Yeah, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Pam, how do you vote?
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
and Hal is yes. Okay, what's the next one, Walter?
Article 7.
Article 7. Okay, that's the one I was on. So this is the one I was saying, can we do all three at once? And I'm assuming we can. Matt, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah, would you like me to read it out first?
I think you
Or at
just,
least read the numbers?
yeah,
This is the first vote. This is the first vote on this, so you should.
This is the
read
first
whole-
one on this. I'll read the whole thing. So Article 7, expendable trust fund deposits, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $96,391 to be placed in the following existing expendable trust funds created under RSA 31:19A. These amounts represent the amount of user fees deposited in the general fund in 2020 for these purposes, and the appropriation shall be funded by the withdrawal of the sum from the unexpended fund balance as of December 31, 2020. Current balances as of December 31, 2020, cable, 63,478, transfer station, 98,291, and cemetery, 57,633. The funds to be deposited break out by Cable Expendable Trust Fund are $40,617, Transfer Station Expendable Trust Fund $53,674, and the Cemetery Expendable Trust Fund $2,100.
okay, so was that your motion to,
I'll move to recommend Article 7 as read.
thank you. Do I have a second on that? Second by Beth. Discussion on this. Hearing none. Beth, how do you vote?
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
and Hal is yes. Thank you. What's next, Walter?
Article number 12.
The lagoon. Matt, do you want to take that one also, please?
Article 12, Lagoon Maintenance and Repair Expendable Trust Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,681 to be placed in the Lagoon Maintenance and Repair Expendable Trust Fund, and to fund this appropriation by authorizing the withdrawal of that amount from the Lagoon Special Revenue Fund held by the Northwood Treasurer. Current balance as of December 31, 2020, $118,027. I move to recommend Article 12 as read.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Beth. Discussion? Hearing none. Matt, how do you vote?
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
and Hal is yes. Thank you. And is there one more, Walter?
No, that concludes all the ones for the select board to vote on.
Okay, I'm seeing one that the budget committee needs to vote on for the
Right.
road improvement.
Did
Okay.
we do Article 21 or we were good? We already did that one. Yeah, I see we did it.
Yes, yes, yeah.
I would say, Walter, just on Article 5, it's already got a selectmen of 5-0 and that's got to be adjusted to 4-0, just as a cleanup.
They'll all be adjusted.
Okay.
Now, do they have those tonight?
I'm sorry?
Does the budget committee get these tonight?
Yes, they have.
Yeah, we have to send them on to them.
They have them. So I'll have to verbally say it's a 4-0. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Walter can maybe do some edits while we're in between meetings. I don't know. Okay, so let's move along. Walter, what else do we have to act on? Anything?
That's it, as far as the warrant is concerned. So the other
Okay.
the
So
other
we
item
have
that we put on the agenda was the
minutes.
meeting minutes and the consent agenda.
Beth, did you want to also say something?
What about Article 25?
Yeah, Article 25, don't we have to,
Is that
we did not have that word before.
That's not a money article, correct?
Well, it's not a money article, but we could still recommend it, or can we not?
I don't believe you can by a state statute.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
okay, good question.
But, so Walter, when faced with the question on that tonight, I will defer to you for the legal basis of why it doesn't have approvals and votes. So that would mean that budget likewise would not be voting on that, or would they?
That's correct.
Thank you.
It's only money articles.
Okay, so then let's move on to the approval of the minutes. This would be the minutes that were at the top of the meeting pack. So this is the minutes from the January 5th meeting. Does anybody have any comments or edits before we get into the motion? Matt?
So page 2, line 32.
Hold on, please. Page 2, line 32. Yes, go ahead.
I just want to confirm, I had it in my head as the opposite of this. So when we're getting information from the tax collector about tax receipts, so this reads that we are currently, reading it this way, we're currently 2% lower than 2019. I remember being the opposite. Do I remember wrong, or is this wrong?
My notes confirm that I had 93.5% as of 12/23, and my handwritten notes say uncollected slightly over 2019. So
Yeah.
Uncollected
I guess
over
I'm
2019?
confirming.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
but that's-
confirming. My
okay.
notes say slightly over 2019.
Okay, then I just remembered it wrong then. That's fine.
Yeah, because I think the wording, the latter wording is the uncollected taxes is 2% higher, not the collected taxes.
Correct.
Correct.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. Just briefly,
Just
Walter, any further update on that by any chance?
No, no,
Okay.
it's obviously things have slowed down
Yeah.
after the due date.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay. Anything else that anybody wants to ask or add for edits? I did not see anything. Okay, well, if not, then do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented in the meeting pack?
So moved.
Do I have a second on
Second.
that? Second? Any further discussion? Hearing none. Pam?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
And Hal is yes. Okay, I don't,
Quick note, thank you, Paul. I think you're stepping up. I think it's great.
there's plenty of detail
Thank you.
there. Yeah. Okay. Did you publish a consent agenda, Walter, or do we need to read it off?
Yes, I think it was sent out in the updated package today.
Okay, that's my error here then. Okay, do you want to read off what we're approving? Or, excuse me, what we're putting into the record, I guess in this case, since it's accounts payable?
Yes, so the consent agenda for January 13th, 2021 includes the accounts payable manifest dated January 6, 2021, batch number 15248 for $96,774.11. The second item on the consent agenda is the payroll manifest dated January 13, 2021, batch number 15252 for $69,518.05.
Okay, so again, just so the public knows, we review these in detail prior to them actually coming up for the meeting, but we want folks to know what we're spending and how payroll is and all that type of stuff. So we I guess maybe a little bit more formally approve them at this point, but by the time we get to the meeting, we've already signed the numbers, but we want you to know what they are. So do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as shown? Or as read, I should say.
Trying to
need
give
a
someone else a
reread.
chance.
I
I
think
need to
Pam,
reread just on the batch number. Try
say
to
that
call it up.
again, Pam,
The batch number, if you could reread the payroll manifest, please.
the first or second?
Just the batch number.
Payroll, the second one.
15248.
15248. Thank you. No, that's the first
That was
one.
the AP.
That's what you said.
No, I need the payroll manifest, the 13th.
Okay, 15252.
5-2. Thank you.
Okay. So Pam, are you making the motion to accept the consent agenda?
I will. I can't get it open. I know I signed it, but yes, I will make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. Matt,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
and Hal is yes. I think as we, just a comment, I think as we get a little bit further along, more and more of some of Walter's items will start appearing on the consent agenda. And we'll use that as a way to keep the meetings moving along. But I like this approach, and if anybody else has any other suggestions, then just please bring them up. And I'd say pass them directly on to Walter. Anything else we want to cover tonight, Walter?
That's all I had scheduled for tonight.
Okay, so just a reminder, we have the Budget Committee hearing coming up at 6:30, correct?
The meeting's at 6:30, the hearing is at 7.
Okay. So we as board members, Pam will be at the 6:30 meeting. We can watch if we want, and then maybe we need to be ready to comment, if anything, on the 7 o'clock part. Is that correct? Or do you expect that we won't have to comment?
I
I
would be-
don't know.
Good.
Well, let's just talk through this. If something does come up, I guess Pam will ask you to handle it. And then if for some reason you feel that
Right.
you want additional information or want to defer to the other of us on the screen here,
Right.
please do so.
According to it, I've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of minutes that have to be approved.
Oh,
Then a work session, and then public hearings. Town warrant articles are the first on the public hearings.
okay.
And I would, I think I'm pretty good on this. I would defer to Walter or Hal if necessary, because I'll be online with data, so I'll be a little quicker. They'll hear me faster. And so I think that if I call you in properly, that everybody will be like happy with that.
Right.
And I think I can go through these warrant articles. If you need me, obviously, smoke signals,
We'll ping you.
send me an email.
I don't know if that's disabled or not. Maybe the individual messaging is disabled, because I know we started doing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can't chat or get me through anything to do with the cell phone. You cannot reach me through because I'll be doing the meeting via that.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think we're all set. I'll probably tune in for the 6:30, but I'll be definitely ready to support you. And, really, I guess if Pam defers to me, it's really just to pick who's going to answer the question. It might not be me.
because I think when you get to the
like the rec, like Matt.
land one, I would like Beth to talk, and certainly on other ones, Matt. I mean, I will defer to you to delegate.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so it sounds like we're all set. Anybody else want to bring anything up before we adjourn?
Do we have a link for that, or are we just finding that on the website?
I was just going to go to the website.
Yeah, it's probably the easiest way.
Anything else? Oh,
I have a link.
We can get it on the website. I'm sure it's there. I mean,
Or you could email us the link, Pam. Do you mind emailing it to us?
yeah, there we go. That's better.
What I'll do is I'll send it to Walter and he can mail it out, because I don't know if I have everybody for me. So let me forward this to Walter. And
okay, that's good. Was there something else, Beth, that you wanted to ask about?
Yes. So last year I felt as though we weren't as prepared for a deliberative session that we had been in the past. I know like before we'd get like little packets with explanations. So if people ask questions about things like, for example, remember, was it last year they asked about the paving and no one had the information. I was digging through my binder trying to find, the roads, what exactly they were doing. So that kind of stuff. So I think we should have some type of packet so we're prepared for the questions for every article. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, Walter and I have spoken briefly. Do you want to talk to that, Walter?
Well, we'll have the voter's guide, and the voter's guide will obviously give an explanation about each one of the articles, and specifically to your question about roads, I've already included that information. The intended roads that are scheduled for 2021 will be in that voter's guide. I think they're in the article as well, but I think we'll have most of those questions. The detailed question, obviously, we'll have to refer to our backup, to answer those. But I think the general questions, I'll be hopefully wrapping that up by Friday, and on a preliminary basis, and I'll send it around to all the board members for review and comments and so forth. If you think there's more needed or a different language or whatever, and then obviously have it finalized probably no later than the 25th. But I'd like to get it out sooner.
Yeah, and let's just remember, this is really, not really, it is the budget committee's budget. That doesn't mean that we can't help them answer the questions, but they might ask what was the selectmen's or select board's reasoning for proposing this to the budget committee, and then we would definitely want to answer. But I'm expecting that the budget committee themselves may want to answer some of these questions, since they're the ones that have to formally present and put the budget up for vote. So let's be a little bit careful about not stepping on their toes on that. But I think you're right, Beth. If somebody asks us what's the basis for this, that, or the other, or expenditures last year, we want to be ready. And Walter, you had a lot of detail as a result of what John Scruton prepared. So if you could just bring that sort of songbook along with you, that would probably help.
We'll be prepared.
Yeah. Okay, anything else we want to discuss, Beth?
I know we didn't take an official vote on Article 25. It's just kind of like out there. Like, I know a lot of people look at the articles and they say, okay, it's been approved. We're asking to, for the senior tax exemption. So is there a rule that we can't have a vote on it, or that we don't need to have a vote on it?
Oh, that's an interesting way of saying it.
My understanding is that if it's not an appropriation article, then you're not allowed to make a recommendation. I'll confirm that, see if that's changed recently, but that's the Department of Revenue's recommendation.
If press, can we say?
Sorry, one at a time. Let Beth speak first, since she brought it up, please.
Well, I just think some people just vote no because they say, okay, the budget committee didn't vote on it, or the board didn't vote on it. It's something that we think is important enough to put on the ballot. So if we could have something in the voter guide, I mean,
yeah,
it's just
maybe
something
that.
though, it didn't pop there for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Oh no, again, that'll have a full explanation about the thought process and what it means, the impact that we discussed at the last meeting. I intend to include that in the voter's guide so people have an understanding about the purpose.
Well, and Walter, if you find out one way or the other, I mean, we can always have a vote, or you might even just say that these articles aren't voted on by the budget committee, or just so it's clear, in terms of why nothing is there. That, as Beth said, that might make people feel a little bit more comfortable, because I think this is something important we want to do. So we need to try to present it in its best light. Anything else?
We have a hand raise.
Where?
Chris
Chris.
raised his hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. I was looking, so go ahead.
I was just wondering, can one of you guys send me over the meeting and password for the budget committee meeting?
Oh, we're gonna let Walter do that. He's sending it to all of us.
Okay, and then if there's any questions, I mean, obviously I'm just gonna be on as just Joe Public until, if you guys need me for anything,
Yeah,
as far as
good.
referencing, I'll be there.
Yeah, and I guess that reminds me, remind the department heads when the deliberative session is, Walter.
Yes.
They probably want to be there. Okay, so at this point, can we take a screenshot, which means we're going to have Paul stay on the line. He's going to,
Matt's getting all ready.
yeah, I'm sort of, yeah. Yeah. But we need, Paul, you need to kick Chris and Betsy out of the meeting. Well, let's formally vote to adjourn and then we'll do this, do that. So do I have a motion to adjourn? Not all at once.
Move to adjourn.
Second, anybody?
Oh,
Come on,
second.
guy. Thank you.
Pam,
I thought you said second. Like,
Okay. Okay. Pam, how do you vote? Did we lose her?
yes,
Oh, okay,
There she
thank
is.
you. Beth,
yes.
Matt,
Yes.
and Hal is yes.
I
Okay.
voted yes. I lost.
Oh, boy. Well, maybe we aren't taking pictures. Can you get your picture on the screen, Pam?
All right. While Pam's getting ready, I'm gonna shut down YouTube.
Pam's
Thank
doing
you.
her
Let's
hair.
see.
Yeah, she's redoing her hair. Okay, so there we go. Chris, you're gonna have to go too, because we're gonna do a screenshot of the select board. And Walter, I guess we'll see you